Yeah, what's going down, Matt? We've got a quick update here. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're
Howdy,
gonna we're gonna
everybody.
cut this one off at 4:45, FYI, 4:45er. So next 25 minutes, we're gonna hang with you guys, keep you posted. As always, as a reminder, if you want location specific alerts to your device and you don't have the BAM weather platform, you're gonna want to get it. Um, if stuff really hits the fan. Matt Griffin and John Kemper, I'm told, will come back on the lives to cover the severe threat tonight because it is 4:21, 4:22 p.m. Tuesday, June 16th. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the next 7 hours across eastern Illinois, most of central Indiana and northern Indiana. As we can see, these thunderstorms already developing off to the west.
hmm
This is current radar right now. They are on the map and they are headed this way. And it's certainly on the table that a few of these tonight have the potential to be severe. No question about that. We look at just the risks here of severe weather. There's our slight risk. There's a chance for some large hail, some damaging winds, and an isolated tornado or two, especially across the northern half of the state. It's not it's not anything to sleep on. There's certainly an opportunity for the storms to become severe. Let's take a look at the simulated radar product going forward. You can see these storms become more numerous. This is by 7 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
Stretched out across north central Indiana through Marion, Kokomo, draping west through Lafayette, Terre Haute, out to Effingham, Illinois. You can see as we go forward, there's 8 p.m. From Fort Wayne to Muncie to Indy to Terre Haute, getting into Bloomington, 8:30 and 9 p.m. and even out through 10 p.m. It's still storming in the southern and southeastern portion of the state. So, Matt, a few warnings tonight. What do you think? A few severe thunderstorm warnings fly, huh?
I think there will be. And then once you get past 10 p.m., they should continue to weaken. Just we lose our daytime heating. But yeah, environment is good. It's nowhere like what we're talking tomorrow when Michael and I will discuss it. But yeah, I think there'll be a few warnings. In fact, further north and northeastern Indiana already a
Matt,
special
I
weather
lost your
statement.
sound.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's me. I don't know.
Somebody in the chat, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now? What
Yeah.
I was going to say is there's already a special weather statement, northeastern Indiana, a few warnings in Michigan. So I think we'll start to see a little bit more of that fill in further to the south over the next couple hours. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Again, this is a good, probably a 5 to 10 p.m. threat here across the evening, across the area this evening. Future radar product and the BAM application doing a great job of seeing that. And that's what we're going to watch here over the next several hours here just for this evening. So again, if things kind of get a little rowdy, we'll go live, um, and we'll keep you guys posted. Now, what we also want to talk about is the threat for storms tomorrow that have the potential to really be quite a bit more significant and a little bit more dangerous than what we're dealing with
yeah,
tonight. We can call this the precursor, if you will,
the
um,
appetizer.
the appetizer, unfortunately. So let me show you guys. Let's minimize our faces here and go into simulated radar guidance for tomorrow and kind of talk about this. First thing I'm going to do is just show the radar. Um, we've talked for several days, if you guys can remember. We've talked about not several days, but several lives now, if you will, the last day and a half, um, of the northern extent of morning convection causing issues with instability and energy north.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Data coming in, certainly indicative. This is even out through 4 p.m. tomorrow. There's a lot of clouds and rain and moisture in northern Illinois, northern Indiana, southern Michigan along the warm front. Um, a couple of these storms with this first wave, as you can see, the purples and the purple lines here certainly have the potential to be severe and even produce a few tornadoes and hail reports with that
Yeah,
first wave is possible.
I think especially any of the storms on that far southern edge of that large area of rain and storms, those are going to be the ones prime for some spin in them. And those storms too are on the south edge of this rain and storms. Instability is going to be gradually building through the day. So those storms on the southern edge are going to have a little bit more access to some of that instability. And while not as impressive as the later round, there's still plenty of spin in the atmosphere even into the afternoon. So do not let your guard down for, let's call it, round one of storms tomorrow, because I do think some of those can get a little rowdy. Uh, the question, Michael, is how expansive is the rain in the storms? Because we don't have,
Yeah.
I would say, 100% consensus on ultimately the southern edge of where these set up, which is going to be hugely important to how the later round ultimately sets up.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think what a lot of this is going to determine is going to be based on what we see when we wake up tomorrow morning on radar. We're going to have to make some decisions on that. We're going to have to figure out, what's going on, what models handling things the best. Regardless, if there's this wave up here from 10A to 5P tomorrow,
Mhm.
in my opinion, this will zap the atmosphere of the highest levels of instability to the north.
Mhm.
And so that will bring the most significant threat further south, in my opinion. And we can see that next, we go 4, 5. So by 6 o'clock tomorrow, we see this next threat really starting to get its act together. This is obviously an ominous look here by 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow,
Mhm.
right? And then this piece here would work its way east southeast across the region where there wasn't a lot of rain and robbing of energy down here. We didn't have a lot of moisture in the morning. So that's certainly going to play into this, I think. And I think we're going to see somewhat of a correction in the models um, as we get closer to this, because this particular run here has already seen a decent kind of jog south because of this north stuff here. Um, Nonetheless, it's something that I want to mention is that risk for bringing this stuff south. This is 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and again, you can see these. I'm going to change my map color here to white.
Yeah.
You can see these purple lines that are being shown here along the darker purple colors. That's the indication of strong updrafts, very strong storms tracking across the area, even as far west as St. Louis, central Illinois, and north central Indiana tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Here's 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. And so you can see what we're doing here. I mean, we're taking multiple longer tracked, stronger storms with these long purple lines here, with streaks of updrafts moving through the area. Um, that certainly would indicate uh, hail, wind, and tornadoes all being on the table there with this round, this main, what I would like to call the main event tomorrow night, honestly.
Yeah. I
So,
think too, Michael, where ultimately the southern edge of the storm set up tomorrow afternoon, there will probably be that's going to be a focal point of tornadic potential, because there's going to be a big difference in temperature and dew point and instability right along that area where that sets up. And so it'll act as a front, right? So
yep.
it's no surprise why this model, what you just showed, that the purple right near I-70, right? Because on the southern edge of the earlier storms, that's where it was.
Yep.
And look at it right there. You see those bright areas of green and even white colors, which is off the chart spin that Michael's showing
Hmm.
us. It's seeing that almost exactly. Um, Again, that southern edge of the round number one could be game on um,
Yep.
for round number two.
Yeah. So in my opinion, in this particular run of the model, the threat has certainly been um, it's certainly a little south, and I think it's one of those that may even be something like this. Maybe the heart of the biggest concern. is somewhere in here. This is based off of one model run. Now we have multiple ways to look at this threat. I want to show you a couple different outcomes. This is what we look at. This is the storm net, the V4 tornado probabilities. This is kind of machine learning and some AI taken into consideration here. We've noted a big uh, shift south and a big uptick in the probabilities here. This red line is basically a 75% probability or higher for tornadoes to occur, and potentially strong tornadoes. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center works closely with this particular product to help initiate or to help draw their outlooks. And so these, 24 hours ago, these were north here a little bit. And we're kind of seeing those shift south because of the morning wave of rain and storms that will come through. This is one particular outcome of technology or model data we can use to help see that the greatest tornado threat, which would indicate, Indianapolis to Terre Haute to Lafayette, Carmel, Fishers, Noblesville, Kokomo, kind of those north central Indiana cities. And then we have other ways to look at this too, using calibrated models from the high resolution ensemble forecast model, the HREF. And you can see what that's also doing as well. It's also trying to put in. I just got connected to apparently my kid's iPad somewhere. Anyways, Matt, one second. What you can see here, what this is also trying to do is put kind of a similar area.
Yeah, very similar.
In the highest threat. That is a probability of a tornado of 30% with within 25 miles of a point, with there being strong tornadoes in here. The other interesting piece to this is the potential for widespread damaging winds using that HREF calibrated model. That's a pretty impressive signal there.
That's a wild signal, Michael. Can it get any stronger than that? I mean, the number is maxed out there on the scale.
It is. It absolutely is. And again, I think, these are just things we need to consider because of the northern morning rain. It's just if this area in here, and I'll just circle this to if this area here stays drier longer, and then we start to see this, and this is really the key. We start to see this work in. We're just ushering in a whole set of problems here. That's your low level winds there, your low level jet. So, Matt, for a few minutes, talk a little bit about this piece and kind of what this means from a dynamic standpoint.
Yeah, I've in the past couple lives, I've talked about this low level jet, and that's what we're looking at right now. Again, it's very strong winds, about 5,000 feet up in the air, and what are these values, Michael? 60, 70 knots generally. The orange colors that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And whenever
So 65 to 70 with these. This is an 88 knot jet max in Hendricks County.
Right, with some notches, some spots that can even be even more extreme. Well, the problem with this is this is going to usher in a lot of moisture into the Ohio Valley. It's going to supply for a lot of upward motion, but what comes up in the atmosphere also has to come down. And so the problem we're getting this extreme upward motion that's happening. Well, it's also going to help produce some extreme downward motion as well. And so some of these strong winds we see at this level start to get mixed down into the ground. And so, that's why we're concerned there could be some wind gusts, 60, 70, even 80 miles per hour at times, which is already bad enough on top of the tornadoes. In addition, what this is going to help aid as well is, let's call it the spin factor in the lower levels of the atmosphere. Yeah, and I think even outside of storms, Michael, it's going to be a windy and gusty day. and there's the
Hmm.
model already spitting out what 70 plus,
71. Yeah.
which is something, modeling is just it's not going to see the high end wind threat very well. It's something models just don't do very well. So the fact that it's already seeing that is actually pretty impressive at this distance. But the other note with this, with these strong winds, it's going to help the spin factor as well underneath the storms, and the spin that is available for these storms in the lower levels. There's multiple ways you can look at this, but Michael, they're off the charts. They're
Yeah.
they're incredibly impressive. I've talked about before on some of the live streams. I've talked about terms like storm relative helicity, 0 to 1 kilometer shear. Well, we're in some instances more than double to quadruple the amount that would be needed for a tornado outbreak. So it's very high. It's I would even argue it's extreme spin that we have in this particular case. What may be a little bit of a saving factor, I suppose, is the instability isn't overly high. It's we've had instances of severe weather where the instability has been higher, but in this case, it won't take much. In fact, I believe it was in March or April, we had a line of storms that moved through Indiana. The Cape was the instability values, and we're looking at them right now, were only about 100 to 250, and we're talking values of 500 to 1,000 generally into central Indiana. So
Hmm.
in this type of environment, it just doesn't really take that much instability. It just takes just a small sprinkle of it to produce tornadic storms in this particular case. The data is seeing it really across the board, and so it's just a risk. And there's our latest map for the severe threat upcoming, and we've shifted south because of everything Michael just suggested. Just the extent of the rain and storms further to the north, robbing some of the ingredients. And we saw it with the last one on Thursday, right? The SBC and moderate risk was Chicago, and then the better tornadic risk ended up setting up just south of Chicago. One thing I do want to note, Michael, with this, I don't want people to think, oh man, I'm not in the pink. Does it means I'm not getting any tornadoes? That's not how this works. Because
Hmm.
I think there will be tornadoes in the orange. I think there will be tornadoes in the red area. So
Yep. 100% agree. Honestly, this pink area is our number one concern for intense tornadoes. And that might only be one or two, or
yeah,
maybe, but if you've got an EF3 or stronger tornado on the ground from Champaign to Muncie, that's a huge problem.
yeah,
Um, and that's the type of environment we're going to be dealing with, is an environment favorable for long tracked tornadoes. And honestly, I hope we don't have three or four on the ground at once. That would be absolutely horrible. Um,
right.
so that pink area is just where we think that could be the maximized corridor for an intense tornado or two to occur. As Matt said, red is a widespread coverage of 70 to 80 plus mile per hour winds, 2 inch plus hail, and several strong tornadoes. The red doesn't mean you're in a lower threat. Um, I fully anticipate, in my opinion, if I see what I saw in the afternoon model, I think we will see a very rare high risk here for severe weather to occur here across the area. So,
I agree. I think they will. I don't think the folks over at the Storm Prediction Center will issue one until tomorrow. They're not going to do it today or tonight.
yep, yep. I don't disagree at all. That's kind of the assessment for this. I want to, you guys can go back and watch this. This is just an update for tomorrow. This is going out into the BAM weather platform right now. I do want to say, have a way to get location specific alerts, not county based, which is through the BAM app. We will go live. We will live cover you. All of that. You want to have ways tomorrow, keep phones charged, have a little bit of more of a plan than usual. An EF3 tornado, this isn't a scare tactic. Those are the types of tornadoes that can damage well-built homes. Okay. It's not often we want to take seriousness or verbiage to this level, but this is a threat tomorrow where if you don't take it seriously, you could lose your life or someone you know could, or you could lose the home that you live in or the building that you work in. It's not a game. It's not a hype factor at this point. It is the atmosphere is primed for strong and violent tornadoes that can be on the ground for a long time. So our job is just to keep you updated and abreast of the latest information. Best way for us to do that is through the app, but we will be live tomorrow for this as well,
Yep.
to keep you guys covered from there. Real quick, the team did just put out a nowcast because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning already issued here now entering the state line, which the team will get on. But that's for radar indicated 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, along with a BAM warning up to the north here. But we did put out a nowcast. And again, these are things you get from the BAM weather platform with the timing of this. And as these storms begin to push eastward over the next few hours, like I said, I think the team, if it's warranted, may go live. We don't always go live for just severe thunderstorm warnings, but if they get rowdy enough, we will. So that said,
Yep.
Matt, do you have anything to add before we wrap this particular analysis up?
Not much. Again, I think in terms of tomorrow, we're gonna know a lot into the early afternoon. It's gonna tell a big story. Obviously, we'll have to watch the southern edge of the storms in the afternoon, but where that southern edge is, I think, is gonna tell us quite a lot on how the evening is going to play out. Until it happens, there probably will still be a little bit of some question marks, right? As far as exactly prime spot will be, but overall, data is not too dissimilar. And I would say, as a general rule with this particular event, confidence is above normal.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I was just looking at the 18Z NAM3, and again, that's quite a bit further south, Matt, later tomorrow
Yeah,
night with the
it
significant
is.
tornado parameter,
Yep.
um, than what we have seen in prior runs. And again, I think that is just because of the look at those photographs of the the shift in potentially the instability in the best non-rain areas tomorrow. But as Matt said, when we wake up tomorrow, we'll know a lot. Seeing what's on radar, we'll have a much better idea. This isn't a slam dunk forecast. Things can still change. So make sure you keep it here. Follow the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the updates when we go live, and share it with your friends. We ask that you please share it. So um, Matt may be back on in a little bit. I don't know.
Yep. We'll see. Stay
And
tuned.
then, yep, and we'll keep you guys posted. Stay safe. Have a great evening.